and saying that he wants you, things like that. Does that stuff just sound crazy, or just like I'm supposed to be called out?
When you look at all the...
It all kicked off when Crawford seemed to respond to Tank's frustration after he was snubbed for the Ring Awards, an annual event that honors the biggest moments in boxing. Tank aired his feelings on social media, clearly upset about being left out, and Crawford didn't hold back. He fired back, saying, "I see somebody mad they weren't invited," and just like that, the gloves were off. What followed was an intense and entertaining social media clash that's only added fuel to the fire of their growing rivalry. Fans are definitely keeping an eye on this one. Who knows what's coming next? And just when things couldn't get any more heated, Davis upped the ante with a bold threat. "If we were to fight right now on the streets, I'd break your neck, and that's on my kids." You know it. It's clear this feud is far from over, and fans are watching closely. Who knows how far these two will take it? This is more than just talk. It's a full-on rivalry brewing. But that wasn't all. Davis also took aim at the narrative that Crawford is chasing history by calling out multi-division champ Canelo Alvarez. Davis wasn't buying it. "Y'all think he's chasing greatness? He's not," Davis fired back. "That's just what he has to do to make some decent money." He made it clear Crawford's after a big paycheck, not necessarily a legacy. The bold statements only add fuel to the fire, and fans are watching as this rivalry heats up. This isn't just talk, it's real tension that could explode at any moment. Crawford got straight to the point. The first thing a dumb rich person says to another rich person is, "I've got more money than you." "Well, I bet I own more investments than you, and I don't owe $1 in taxes. You can't buy what I've got." Crawford wasn't just defending his wealth.
"If we was to fight right now on the streets, I'll break your neck. And that's on my kids. And you know it, I know it, and the whole world know it. And I'm not talking about no fighting in the ring. If me and you was to fight outside, I would..."
He was showing that he's thinking ahead and securing his financial future. The tension between these two is clearly heating up, and it's clear that this war of words is far from over. Fans are definitely keeping their eyes on what's coming next. He fired back with, "On my mama, you don't expletive ass boy." Then Tank went all in, posting one after another, mocking Crawford's financial situation while flexing his own. This is what happens when you've never had expletive. They start talking crazy expletive, he added, taking another shot at Crawford's journey to the top. The heat between these two is rising, and fans are here for it. It's clear this rivalry isn't cooling off anytime soon. Tank's making sure of that, but then made it clear that his usual fight purse is way higher than Davis's, except for Tank's huge 2023 fight with Ryan Garcia. "By the way, little guy, don't talk too soon. You're definitely not making more than me," Crawford said. "I've been in the game for years. That's why you're still talking about fighting Ryan again." Crawford's message was clear. He's been at the top for a long time, and Tank is still catching up. The back and forth between these two just keeps getting better, and fans can't get enough of the drama. Coppinger backed up Crawford's statement, pointing out that Crawford made more money from his fights against Israel Madrimov and Errol Spence than Gervonta "Tank" Davis did in his last 3 matches, excluding the Ryan Garcia fight. In fact, Crawford earned way more from those fights than Tank did from his bouts with Frank Martin, Hector Luis Garcia, and his upcoming fight with Royman Villa. Coppinger emphasized this to give more weight to Crawford's claim. However, neither he nor Crawford gave specific details about just how much more Crawford earned compared to Tank. Crawford's wealth may surpass Tank's, but he's never been one to back down from a challenge. True to his style, he's been throwing verbal punches at Gervonta Davis over the past few days. While their back and forth has definitely got people talking, a fight between them still seems unlikely. That's because Crawford already reached out to Davis with an offer to fight, but it was ignored. The drama all started when Davis, feeling snubbed, complained about not being included in the recent Ring Magazine Awards. Seeing an opportunity, Crawford jumped in and took a jab at Tank. Crawford took a shot at Davis, and what started as a simple jab quickly turned into a full-blown, heated exchange. But fans know that these intense back and forths on social media usually don't lead to an actual fight. Tank is probably just talking because he knows the fight won't happen. He had his chance to make it real in 2024 when Crawford threw out the idea of a welterweight showdown during an interview on Sway's Universe. Crawford said, "Yeah, if he wants to dare to be great, just like other fighters moving up 2 weight classes and challenging themselves, tell him to step up." Crawford didn't hold back, saying that if Davis wants to prove himself, he can come up to 147 and test his glass chin. He added that he'd make the weight just for him. Meanwhile, Crawford seems focused on a potential fight with unified super middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez, something he's been after for over a year. A win here would cement Crawford as one of the greatest boxers of all time. With strong support from Chairman Al Heyman, the talks for this fight are picking up speed. While it's hard to imagine Crawford starting at super middleweight, the chances of this showdown happening are definitely growing. Crawford moving up to middleweight before coming back down to welterweight just adds to the drama. No matter how this rivalry unfolds, you can bet there will be plenty more surprises along the way. What started as lighthearted banter quickly turned into something much more intense. The back and forth between Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis took a serious turn when Davis started going after Crawford's family. While their relationship has never been smooth, fans felt this was crossing a line. The tension really sparked when Davis, clearly angry, took things to a whole new level.
How you feel about that fight? Is it even possible at a catch weight?
There ain't no catch weight. You come up to 47.
Not even entertaining a catch weight.
No, I'm not.
He's a champ though too, undefeated.
And what champ? Come on, man, tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm gonna come up here where the big boys at.
All right. The back and forth caught Crawford's attention, and he quickly fired back with a strong response. What started as a simple exchange quickly turned into a heated argument over money, with both fighters claiming they earned more. As things heated up, even experts joined in to share their thoughts. But the situation took a major turn when Gervonta Davis crossed the line with a harsh comment about Crawford's wife. That comment seemed to make it impossible for them to repair their relationship. Crawford, being the more experienced fighter, decided to handle it differently. Instead of diving into the personal attacks, he shifted the conversation back to himself, focusing on his own accomplishments. Terence Crawford took a moment to reflect on the positive changes in his life, sharing how much he's grown. He posted, "I'm glad I'm not the man I once was." Growth is a blessing because some people don't change even when better days are right in front of them. While it seemed like he might be talking about Gervonta Davis, some fans pointed out that there could be other meanings behind his words. In fact, many fans advised Crawford to stay focused on his personal growth and not get too caught up in the back and forth. Some fans felt that Crawford might be wasting his time on a rivalry that could end up going nowhere. Just over a year ago, right after Crawford's big win against Errol Spence Jr., Gervonta Davis threw out a bold challenge. At the time, Davis, the lightweight champion, confidently said he was ready to take on the newly crowned undisputed champion, Crawford. Crawford, always calm and collected, accepted the challenge, but with one key condition. He made it clear that any ongoing issues between them needed to be settled first before the fight could happen. Crawford and Davis might need some time to sort things out. Boxing insider Rick Glazer spoke up, criticizing Gervonta Davis for making disrespectful comments about Crawford's family, calling them classless. He said, "It's a low blow for Tank to bring Crawford's family into this. You never do that, it's a classless move." Fans echoed this sentiment in the comments on Crawford's latest post, showing they weren't happy with Davis crossing that line. Even though Tank exudes confidence, many felt he went too far by dragging Crawford's family into the mix. A fight between these two boxing stars seems unlikely. Aside from the big weight difference, their career paths make the matchup even harder to imagine. Gervonta Davis has talked about possibly retiring by the end of the year, while Terence Crawford seems focused on a potential showdown with Canelo Alvarez soon. No matter what happens with their legacies or their fortunes, one thing is clear. Both Davis and Crawford have earned a special place in the hearts of boxing fans. These two are future Hall of Famers who have already made a huge mark on the sport. Both Gervonta Davis and Terence Crawford have achieved amazing things in their careers, and all these petty online arguments could end up hurting their hard-earned reputations. Some fans feel it might be time for both of them to let go of the past and focus on what's next. For a while, it seemed like things were getting too personal, and fans were worried. But luckily, the back and forth between Crawford and Davis moved into a different area, the world of money. Even though it's been a while since they've exchanged jabs, their rivalry is far from over. The latest drama started when Gervonta Davis was upset about being left out of the prestigious Ring Awards. The event in London, which brought together some of the biggest names in boxing, didn't include Davis, and he wasn't happy about it.
My whole family's from DC. My whole family, like my entire family.
Don't bring them.
Don't
bring them.
For what?
Don't bring them. I'm telling you.
They gonna celebrate with me. Yeah.
Don't bring them.
It's gonna be a party on your floor.
I'm gonna let y'all know something. His father was up here.
Crawford took the chance to throw a jab at him, and Davis didn't take it well. In his response, Davis crossed the line by dragging Crawford's family into the mix. What followed was a heated debate about who had earned more money over the years. So, we decided to break it down and take a closer look. Let's take a closer look at who's making more money in the ring. Before we dive into the numbers, it's important to understand where both champions are in their careers. Gervonta Davis, the younger of the two, started his professional boxing journey in 2013. Since then, he's fought 30 times and remains undefeated. What really makes Davis stand out is his amazing knockout-to-win ratio, an impressive 93%. Pretty incredible, right? With an impressive 93% knockout rate, Gervonta Davis has become one of the most powerful and feared punchers in boxing. After taking a year off following his dominant win over Ryan Garcia in April 2023, Davis made his big return on June 15th, defending his WBA title against Frank Martin. He knocked Martin out in the 8th round in a spectacular finish. Despite a few bumps along the way, Davis is already set for his next fight on March 1st against Lamont Roach Jr. It looks like the excitement is far from over. Terence Crawford, who started his career in 2008, has stayed undefeated through 41 fights, just like Davis. While he's not always known for his knockout power, Crawford has proven himself as one of the best in the sport. He's consistently ranked in the pound-for-pound lists, and his incredible boxing skills have earned him a lot of respect. Over the past year, Crawford has set his sights on a big fight with Canelo Alvarez, even moving up a weight class to challenge himself even more. It's clear Crawford is aiming for the very top. As the new year kicks off, talk of a potential September fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is starting to heat up. This matchup could be the one that secures Crawford's place in boxing history. While one champion is eyeing a historic moment, the other is building up steam. Recently, Crawford took to X, formerly Twitter, to challenge Gervonta Davis, telling him to stop being afraid and step up to fight Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis. Since Stevenson and Keyshawn are close to Crawford, it's easy to see why he's calling Tank out. It's getting interesting. Davis is challenging Crawford to have his friends fight in the ring, but Keyshawn Davis, who hasn't built a strong fan base and hasn't impressed in his fights with Miguel Madueno and Nahir Albright, isn't likely to get Tank's help. If Crawford wants to help Keyshawn grow, he first needs to help him build the confidence to face tough opponents like Andy Cruz. On the other hand, Davis has been saying that Crawford is more interested in big paydays, like a potential fight with Canelo Alvarez in Saudi Arabia, than in chasing true greatness. The tension between them is clearly rising, and things are only going to get more intense from here. For Crawford, it seems like securing a comfortable retirement is more of a priority than building his legacy. If he really wanted to cement his place in history, he might have challenged himself at 168 before asking for a big fight. Crawford has told his fans that moving up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo is all about solidifying his legacy and achieving greatness. But Davis doesn't see it that way. He thinks Crawford's decision is mostly about chasing a big payday. Crawford fired back, saying, "Look, I've got bigger things to focus on." The debate over what Crawford's really after is definitely heating up. The rivalry between Crawford and Davis is getting intense. Davis called Crawford out, telling him to grow some balls and fight Shakur Stevenson or Keyshawn Davis instead of backing down. He even made some personal jabs, suggesting that Crawford's past actions showed he wasn't as tough as he claims. Meanwhile, Crawford often uses these kinds of exchanges to stay in the spotlight, since big pay-per-view numbers haven't really been his thing. His recent fight with Israel Madrimov only pulled in about 75,000 to 100,000 pay-per-view buys, which is a bit disappointing. Unlike Davis, Crawford has never been a huge PPV draw. And with Keyshawn Davis, who trains with Crawford, getting involved, this rivalry is definitely not dying down anytime soon. Tank Davis's trainer, BAC McIntyre, made it clear that Tank won't fight someone like Shakur Stevenson because Shakur just doesn't excite fans. He's not the kind of opponent who would boost a big promotion, while Tank is the one who draws all the pay-per-view sales. Shakur's style doesn't seem to grab people's attention, and viewers just aren't that interested in watching him.
Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes and, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I gotta.
It's honestly a bit confusing why Eddie Hearn thinks he can turn Shakur into a global star, especially since he hasn't really caught on in the US. Maybe Hearn can help Shakur's career, but for now, it's hard to see how. Shakur's path to stardom might be a bit smoother in the UK, where the entertainment scene is more laid back. This could help explain why big names like Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Conor Benn, and Chris Eubank Jr. have found so much success over there. In the US, though, talent is the key to becoming a true star. Tank Davis, the powerful puncher from Baltimore, has even claimed he could knock out Crawford, maybe in just a few rounds. But Crawford has warned him to keep his sights set on what's realistic and not bite off more than he can chew. While a fight between the two seems pretty unlikely, some fans still think anything could happen in the unpredictable world of boxing. The fight between Tank Davis and Terence Crawford wouldn't be an easy one to call. In a recent interview with Real Life Productions, legendary boxer Roy Jones Jr. called it one hell of a fight and said it would be a tough match if they fought just under the welterweight limit. Jones gave Tank a real shot at winning, highlighting one important thing: I don't see anyone beating Bud unless it's someone much bigger than him. But he also warned not to count out Tank, saying, don't sleep on the fact that if him and Tank fought, implying it could be a lot closer than some might think. It's a fight fans are definitely excited about. Roy Jones Jr. believes that a fight between Tank Davis and Terence Crawford, especially around 145 pounds, would be an exciting matchup. He mentioned that both fighters have smart boxing brains, but Tank's explosiveness is something special. Tank has what Errol Spence didn't. He's explosive, Jones said, explaining that explosiveness can take fighters far in the sport. Just like Jones was able to achieve so much because of his own explosive style. While both Tank and Crawford are focused on their individual journeys, Crawford is aiming for a major fight with super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez, which would require him to move up 14 pounds. It's clear both fighters have big plans ahead. As Crawford looks to move up in weight for a big fight with Canelo Alvarez, Tank Davis is gearing up for a March fight with Lamont Roach Jr. He also recently shared plans to retire by the end of the year. Tank is definitely a boxing genius with a style that makes people stop and think, but the big question is, has he surpassed Terence Crawford when it comes to skills in the ring? Everyone has their own opinion, and even commentator Showbiz the Adult, who often compares Tank to Floyd Mayweather, has pointed out some key similarities. The debate continues as fans and experts try to figure out who truly dominates the sport. What do you think? Specific aspects of Davis's performance that in his view surpass those of Crawford what?
I got a glass chin, so tell him come and touch it.
Wow. Man. Javante said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147. I make